systemically, are there ways that we can deal with this, that we start saying, okay, that long term, we cannot sustain ourselves. We have a segment in this city that has a perpetual unemployment rate of 30%. And that is not easily addressed. That challenges all of our structures to say, all right, we've got to start lifting this as a whole, whatever that takes. And that gets into a whole different thing, but that is a challenge. And then, of course, the workforce preparedness, that impression, Randy's going to talk about it. We didn't get into that so much as the fact that the skill levels, we got the low-hanging fruit for so long. You know, we're the first Mexico. Come down here, we'll make it cheaper, and we'll work for less, and be glad to get the job. The brown shoes and the slants and the HISs and all that stuff. Well, we've seen all of that go away in the last 20 years or so, and so we know now that workforce preparedness has to be a whole different level, and that challenges our education structure and everything else. So that's a real thing. And then the perception of public ed. The feeling in our group was that there are many, many, many good things happening, and the commitment of this community and everything else is a good commitment to this public education system, but that we have to find ways to communicate the positive things out there, the things that are going on within this structure, to just get out of this beatdown that we can get into. And so then when it gets down to where we go from here, for the chamber, what we look for. Part of this is a different area, as we saw it, and that is visionary, that we are going to compete and win. The point that was made in our group, if you look at community hospitals, for example, if you were to ask people in 1970, whatever, what kind of community hospital with HCA, it's like, no. If they ever come to town, just forget that. And if we look at our system here, if you look at Erlanger in East Tennessee, or you look at the Med in Memphis, and those are government-owned hospitals, they become indigent care hospitals, and they require millions of dollars in underwriting from the taxpayers to survive, and it's a perpetual struggle. And somewhere in the inner sanctums of this place, in the 1980s, the decision was made that, by golly, we are going to protect the insurance-paying base of this community hospital. We're not going to surrender that to other entities. An ACA can come here, and Baptist can come here, and Methodist come here, or whatever, but when they do, they're going to run into a big old bear here because we're going to compete in that business. Hospital made a decision it was going to compete, you know. And so instead of having to pay the hospital millions of dollars, all of us that are in community service go to our hospital with our hand out because we expect them to be making money. And they are making money, but it's a model that doesn't exist, that I know of, the way it does anywhere else in this state. So our feeling was, somebody made the decision that, by golly, we are going to compete, and we are going to win. And that our thinking was that in the chamber, or somebody has to, in our community, say that we don't care what the economic circumstances, the trends, or whatever, that Jackson, Tennessee is going to compete, and Jackson, Tennessee is going to win. And that somebody has to have that attitude. And that it can pull together a lot of the separate things that we've got out here. And how our feeling was maybe the chamber, we got divided government, city, county, other things, that may be the place. Somebody has to have that vision, say, and here's what it takes. You know, we're going to compete and win, and here's what I need from you to make this happen for this community. And the feeling was that vision has got to come from somewhere, because we're all doing different things. And that maybe the chamber is the role for that, and that we'll take the marching order. We believe in this community, we love it, we will be here. And then the total assessment of things that we see that the chamber can do, because somebody's got to have that big picture. And we saw that as done. And then the mechanism to help address this, you know, the continued development of the infrastructure and the workforce and the racial issues. The feeling is, like I said, we got to pull this together. The mechanisms, and if it goes back to chamber discussion like we used to have with goals for Jackson, whatever, somebody has got to move that dialogue in a different direction. Where it is now. and the same thing with public education. And Alan, Mr. Ben, where are you, Alan? Alan talked about, particularly in Knoxville, that there's some real initiatives. He was talking about the dashboards and other things. Now you may want to address that, but that the initiatives to bring that new vision, to capture this technology. You know, we got a wired cities. We're talking about. We got a wired education system. Those schools are wired. Alan, what did they do in Knoxville?
Well, let me tell you what a dashboard is, and James can talk about it from a banking perspective. It's an online management system where measurements that are critical to the success of the organization are available real time to every employee to make sure that the whole organization is focused on those critical success factors. What that would look like in our schools is at the district level, we would be able to look immediately on our computer screen, everybody at the district level, to be able to see how we are doing on academic indicators, how we're doing on AYP, how we're doing on financials for the budget. At the principal level, they would be able to see how every teacher is doing, how every grade is doing on the academic indicators, as well as the financial. Every teacher would have on their computer screen, how's every student doing on academic indicators and financials for that school. But the key is for everybody in the organization to be focused on those critical success factors. What does this have to do with Knoxville? Knoxville Chamber of Commerce went and found funding for this for Knoxville Public Schools. Knoxville Chamber of Commerce hired a person to go into Knoxville Public Schools to implement it, to train people, and to maintain it. Knoxville Chamber of Commerce is also willing to come here to Jackson to help do the same thing. And I'm making overtures, and I'd love for the Jackson Chamber of Commerce to work with Knoxville and make this happen here in Jackson.